The View went absolutely off the rails today, and I want to show you what I'm referring to. This is a really valuable debate they're having, and it was really interesting given that you'll see Whoopi Goldberg at the end of this back and forth with Ana Navarro, and Alyssa Farah Griffin jumps in for a little bit, sees a producer going, we gotta go, cut to break. And that's what happens, which is always quite the climactic ending to such a debate. Before I give any of my thoughts or even breaking down much context, let's get in this clip. The only thing you need to know about it is it's a debate that's now reoccurring on the show between Whoopi Goldberg and Ana Navarro about whether or not we should be in panic mode during this transition period about the beginning of the Trump administration that's coming up very soon, unfortunately. While you watch, please do click that subscribe button if you haven't yet. If you appreciate the show, here is Whoopi Goldberg.
He does this to keep you all in a panic. He does it to make you all do this and talk about it, but it's so terrible. But we have to do from now until January 21st is be with our families, be with our kids, do our jobs, make sure our checks don't bounce, make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and our families. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to do, but do take our word for it. Things seem to move slowly because, yeah, they didn't come get Hillary, but he has other people who are ready to go, but I don't think that they can just go out and do what they want to do.
No, wait, I told you last week I disagree with you when you say that because we have the luxury of saying that because we're legal, we are successful, we are. But if you're an illegal immigrant in this country, you're not going to be not in a panic. If you are a woman working for the Department of Defense, you have a right to be in a panic.
You tell people to stay fraught and like this.
I'm telling people to prepare, Whoopi. I'm telling people to prepare.
They are prepared.
So that means that they can't be relaxing and enjoying Christmas.
No, it doesn't mean that.
When winter is coming.
No, it does. You know what? I'm sorry.
I mean, I disagree.
Winter is here.
Right.
Winter's been with us. And my point is we can lay down and do nothing for the next 15 days and then be freaking out for the next 4 or 2 years.
To you is we are in a privileged position that a lot of people who are going to be under his attack
who is going through the same thing.
I want his enemies listed. I'm not panicking.
Yeah.
Like we just have to live.
We have to figure out what we're panicking for. We don't know what we're panicking for. They're throwing 50,000 things at you to make you do this. I'm saying don't buy into that. Do what you have to do. Take care of your family. And when we know what is happening, when we know what we're fighting, we'll get out and fight. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying don't do anything. I'm saying don't be this because nobody can do it.
I think people need to prepare.
Would you like us to stop? All right, we'll be right back.
And then literally a producer having to cut it off. The music came in so early when I was watching this, I was going, surely that's not commercial music because they're just getting into this debate. And indeed, it was go to the dang commercial type music. I'll show you in just a little bit the context for that discussion, which was them previously addressing a similar thing. But first, to get my own thoughts, I think that back and forth and that tension is really valuable because it emphasizes the two truths, which is that we should be worried and we should be rational about what we're going into. We have to be sober in our discussion about what we're entering into and realistic as we engage with story after story about who Trump is staffing his administration with and how bad that looks and the meaning of what that looks like for this second Trump term. That's a really, really valid point. Ana Navarro, even feeling panic over that, totally justifiable. Then also what Whoopi Goldberg is saying, there's some truth to as well, which is that we also have to keep living life. And we don't know exactly what Trump's going to do. As we wait for him to actually take office, and once he's in office, every day has to be an intentional effort to still make the most of your life, right? And make the most of your advocacy as a political advocate. And I think you can do both those things. We've been here at the show trying to do both those things the best that we can. When I'm talking about a story that's infuriating or scary as it pertains to the incoming Trump administration, I bring to it best that I can the appropriate emotion, even appropriate panic when justified. And when we're just hanging around here, or when we're talking about a story that's a little bit more lighthearted, I try to have moments where I release from that and where I continue to try to find the fun and enjoyment in even political life. And then no matter what's going on, of course, every day you want to work in your personal life to get the most joy out of it and to make the most of it. And especially, I personally am quite the worrier. And one of the things that friends of mine have always told me is that if you spend so much time feeling the stress, this severe stress, worrying about the worst of what could happen, and then the worst doesn't happen, then you wasted a lot of stress. And so I'll do this where I'll be really stressed about something in a week, and then a week later, the thing gets canceled or it goes perfectly fine. And I look back on the week and thought, why did I make so many days worse than they had to be as I was worrying about that day that didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought it would? And a similar thing here where as we get more signs and we have to address this with the urgency that matches the moment, as we learn about who Trump's putting in his administration and his priorities, it's not looking good. It's not like, oh, it really was just all rhetoric when he said he wanted to go after his political enemies. We'll talk about that in a different segment. It really all was just rhetoric when he talked about these draconian mass deportations. So there's scary stuff. And depending on how that impacts you specifically, the panic level will be different. But at the same time, as was a point Goldberg was hitting on, you don't want to give Trump the power or give MAGA the power of ruining all aspects of your life. Of course not. And I think one of the ways we can show y'all should be worried a little bit, those who stand against the principles we advocate, is that we're not discouraged. We're definitely disappointed, devastated even, but I'm not discouraged in continuing to be motivated, to work hard, to implement policies that I think matter, and to push back against harmful ideas. Here is the last time they got into this on The View.
I understand all the things you want to see him be. I understand all the things that he promised he would be and he wasn't. And now that he has been given carte blanche, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on what he might do.
But at the
I'm gonna wait because I need to see what he will do so that I know what I'm going to do.
That's in many ways my point. But we can sit here and we could be apocalyptic about what he might do, but I also think there's a moment for self-reflection. I felt as unrepresented by Biden when I would talk about, I care about the border. Why did you wait till 3 years in to do it? I care about the cost of living.
But
why aren't you talking about it?
We've done all of that, and we're talking about how this respect comes to you, how it comes to me, how it comes to you. We're looking at different things. You're hearing different things than I'm hearing because you're not listening for the same things. We just aren't. And that's okay. I have a lot more understanding about what you're looking for than most people have what I'm looking for.
Yeah. No,
because,
we recognize
yeah,
that.
So I think what we're all saying is we're going to sit and watch. We're going to wait and see because we can't do anything else except.
I'm not going to wait and see. I mean, this guy is told us he's a retribution.
What are you going to do?
What are you doing? Like,
there's nothing to be done until you know what you're fighting. It's pissing in the wind doesn't help. You just get a wet face.
But I mean, what I'm saying is I have no false expectations that at 78 he's going to all of a sudden turn into another human being. And I'm not going to spend. I spent weeks telling people that he was apocalyptic. I'm not going to change now because it's still the same man.
Not treating every single thing like
I think that's when we lose credibility.
Well, here's the thing: you lose credibility in many different ways. If you don't know what you're talking about and you accuse him of,
I think you get the sense of that one as well. A similar discussion, a similar argument. Which the interesting thing is, as happens with so many debates, the gap's not that large between the two of them and what they're saying. I think everyone acknowledges we will judge the actions of Trump's presidency as they come. I won't prejudge an action that hasn't happened yet. But at the same time, I won't abandon what he's already said and done as I am informed on what to expect, right? So it's not like, okay, now that he's elected, in between him being elected and when certain bad policies are implemented, we just clean the slate and we go, all right, well, we have no idea what's going to happen. No, we're going to be informed. We're going to be expecting, but we're also not going to induce a level of panic that could sort of hinder our own activism. And that, I think, is the middle ground between their two stances, but not really. I think they both, at the end of the day, understand both those points, as most people should and do. But again, I don't like the idea that I've heard from some people, which is, well, now that Trump won, I'm going to clear my mind so that I can be completely open-minded to his presidency, and we'll just see how it goes. Because time didn't stop or begin on election day when the results came out. We don't reset. We're not going to forget how Trump tried to block the peaceful transfer of power. I'm going to come back to that a lot as I've been going on MAGA shows recently, debating different people, trying to get into those echo chambers to bring some truth when it's not normally there. Something that I've been aggressively confronted about is how often I bring up that 2020 election era. And it's not because, I feel like that's a one strong talking point. Y'all know I love talking about the economy or crime, the recovery, the strength of certain policies, I think. Criticisms of the last few years of governance. I like all of that. It's really interesting. And also, none of it's as relevant as Trump showing us his lack of dedication to democratic institutions and the democratic process, as we saw when he tried to prevent our election process from proceeding. Luckily, he barely failed. So that's not just disappearing because, now it's 4 years ago and a new election happened, so it's over. Or his rhetoric on the campaign trail, the retribution stuff, the anti-constitutional stuff, the threatening media stuff. All of that's not disappearing in what we know about him. Thus, how we can prepare to oppose what's almost inevitably going to take place over the next few years. But we acknowledge nothing is inevitable. And as the actions happen or don't happen, we'll judge accordingly. Seems reasonable. Interesting debate, but I don't think it need to be so heated. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did I miss anything? And you can get the bonus show by clicking that join button below. And yes, we updated the studio a little bit. I know. Very cool.